Yo, what's going on? Kamikaze Soundwaves, and Orisa was released today. Cool shit, man. She's a tank character, and it's been one hell of a day trying to get on to play. I've been busy. And of course, her being a new character, everybody wants to play as her, so it was kind of a pain in the ass to actually get in the game and to choose her as a character, because of course everybody wants to test her out and play with her. Yeah, I had a hard time. I did get into a couple games, which we'll kind of go over, and just kind of want to give you like my first impressions of her. So first off, I'm just going to go into the practice room, and we'll kind of just look at what she can do and some of her abilities, etc., etc. Okay, first thing I did when I chose Orisa is I just held down that fire button because I was really interested to see what that gun was going to do and how it felt. And it goes for quite a bit of time before you need to reload. And even when it is time to reload, it's pretty quick. It's pretty quick. I will say that it doesn't. I don't feel like it melts down like a meter like a Bastion cannon when he transforms, but it's all right. So this is one of her abilities. You'll hold down LB, I believe it is, and basically that is kind of like you can still get hurt, but it just kind of not makes you get hurt as bad. And I think if like Reinhardt or Diva are rushing you, you pretty much just hold your position and you don't move, which is really, really cool. And these are just, I was just kind of looking at the abilities to see which each one does. Now, I do think that she has some very, very cool, interesting things that, really appeal to me and my gameplay style. This thing right here where it basically draws enemies in as long as you put it next to them, which I think would be really useful for, if there's a whole bunch of people in one area, you want to draw them in and just hit them with the cannon, or moving people off the point. And then you have a barrier here, kind of like Reinhardt's, which I have found is very, very useful. Very, very useful. Now, I really, really like how it just basically makes you kind of like a Bastion to a degree. You don't transform into the cannon, but you can kind of lock down a position and kind of hold your own. It's kind of like a Bastion with a barrier. Now, her super is this right here. Basically, you throw out the super, and it kind of puts you and everyone who's in the area, gives you damage boost. I don't think it's a ton more damage boost. I don't feel like we were doing a lot of damage as a team, but it definitely increases it. How much, I'm not quite sure, but it didn't feel like a lot. Alright, after finally getting in a game, I just want to go over a couple of standout points and a couple of matches that I played with her. I think I only played like maybe 4 or 5 matches with her total. And I just kind of want to put some of the highlights and show how I think that she's like the most useful. And and it's just like any other character in Overwatch. If you know how to play them and you know how to use their abilities to the best of your abilities, any character can be a beast or a monster or a problem to deal with. But in my opinion, right off the bat, I do think that when I was playing with Orisa, I felt like she's going to be a problem to deal with anyway. I think that she's very, very, very powerful. I'm not going to be surprised if we see a nerf on her. Probably a lot quicker than like any other characters. But no, I do think that we're going to probably see a nerf on her in the future, and probably very soon, because I do think that she is a little bit overpowered. I do find like I know that everyone's trying to play with Orisa, but every time that I got into a match, I feel like it was like me versus the other Orisa on the team. It's like I guess we had to Orisa it out. I'm not quite sure, and just exactly Now you drop this shield. Look, it's like you kind of just hold down your own little spot right here, and you're pretty much shielded. And the shield is pretty durable. It can take a little bit of abuse. I'm sure if Bastion jumps on it and hits it a couple times, it's going down really, really fast. But for the most part, I think that it holds its own. Now, this is another moment really early in the match where it was me, Orisa, versus the other Orisa. How I kept saying, like, every time I felt like I ran into another Orisa as I was playing Orisa, it's like we just had to have our own little duel, because, we're just like, like I said, I feel like she's kind of an overpowered character. But anyway, I kind of got the best of that situation right there. But you can kind of see, you just kind of throw up shields and kind of protect and hold your little area, and basically you'll just keep doing it till one of you falls. So here's another really good point. I think that Orisa is really good at holding down points. I hope this kind of just proves what I'm trying to get at. So they're moving the point up, and I kind of just put this barrier up, and it's kind of like a Winston or Reinhardt, but you're actually able to shoot. And that's why I kind of compare it to Bastion, because I kind of feel like, Bastion, you're locked down to that one spot. And Orisa, you can kind of guide around a little bit and shoot, but I still feel like at that point, the barrier is so small, you're still kind of limited to that little tiny area right there. And that, I feel like, that barrier right there just can come in so many uses, especially with her actually being able to shoot other than like Winston or Reinhardt, or who have very limited range on weapons. Now, this is a part in the game. They were moving that payload up, and we couldn't stop them. Now, what I did here is I kind of put my back exposed to but the only way they're coming up behind me, they still have to come through this one area. So I just locked down this area and just kind of put down the barrier where they couldn't get me and I couldn't get them. Now, your barrier actually does go away after a few seconds, even if the energy isn't on it depleted. But that happens way after your recharge is already done, and you can be able to put another one down right after it. If your barrier is still up and your recharge is done, we can literally just replace your barrier with full strength somewhere, which is, oh man, I tell you, that's why I think the Orisa is going to be such a problem. Now, this little part right here, they did eventually get through us, but I think how Overwatch goes. Man, I tell you, it could just take 1 second and the whole thing, the tides will turn. But Orisa right here, what I did is I just kind of like locked down this one spot, and it was kind of a problem for them to get through. I kept throwing up the barrier every time a few of them came, and then I would just go to town on them with the gun, which, like I said, I think is really powerful. The only thing I will say about the cannon that Orisa has is I do feel that it's not as precise as something like a Bastion. I feel like her shots are very spread out. I feel like it's really hard to target small enemies, and especially from a distance, and sometimes even at a medium range. I feel like the shot's very, very spread out, and even though as small as the reticle is, I still feel like the reticle, like, you really got to have it dead center on them, or you're gonna hit them, but you're not gonna melt them down unless it's like right dead on them. So once again, like I said, I think that Orisa is just amazing for holding down spots. Like, I hold up this little area right here on top of this ledge for a good bit, and it was a problem for the other team. They could not get through. The only way they were getting through is if they came through that corridor, which they eventually did. But I mean, for the how they were already pushing that payload really hard, and how like I pretty much turned the tides just by myself with Orisa to hold down this spot right here. I think I even got like a double or a triple in here. But like I said, man, she's really good at holding down these spots, and I know that's really a thing for the tank class. I couldn't think of it. Yeah, like the tank class, and and that's another thing. Like, she has that energy ball right there where it kind of pulls people to it. So people kind of like ducking and diving around the corner. Somebody like a Tracer or a Genji, or somebody who's really quick, who keeps coming in and out of cover. You can kind of draw them out of cover and then take it down on them with the gun. Also, like, the gravity ball, I think, is really, really good for like maybe even defending points, because it could be like almost overtime, and all you got to do is get maybe 1 or 2 people off the point. If you're close enough, you could shoot that energy ball from a distance or up close and kind of just remove people off of the point. So I think it could also be used really, really well there. Which I think is, like I said, her abilities are very, very useful, and I think that she is going to be a major problem to deal with, especially as somebody in the right hands who's can be really, really good with her. But I think that Overwatch has done a great job integrating Orisa into it, and I think that she is one hell of a fun character to play with so far. I actually really enjoy playing with her. I know it's going to be a while, and every time I'm going to get on Overwatch, everybody's going to want to play as her. She's a new character. It's going to be hard to get a hold of her to actually play in matches with her. But be patient. It was the same thing when they released it, Sombra. Everybody wanted to play with her, and it was like almost impossible to get her. And now, if you really want to play with her, 9 out of 10 times nobody's really picking her. People do pick her. She is a really great character, but you know what I mean. Once the hype dies down and everybody's spent their time with Orisa, she'll be open for grabs and fun to play with. So this is Kamikaze Soundwaves. This was my quick overview of Orisa and showing off some of my first gameplay with her. I think that she's one hell of a character, really fun to use, really great. I think that she's going to be one hell of a beast. I think she's going to be a problem to deal with, especially with someone in the right hands. But anyway, hope you enjoyed my quick overview of Orisa, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.